Hey everybody, welcome back to the Redneck Racing channel. Today's video, we're going to be throwing in the engine and the new transmission into Nightmare here. So, basically, the old transmission is over there. He's out of commission. He's done. And we got this brand spanking new unit right here, which is, yeah, it's a brand spanking used unit. Out of an 88 Camaro, it's a t-5 5-speed.
So, yeah, put down your pitchforks, don't murder us. We know that one can handle more horsepower. Yes, it goes with this car, but I wanted overdrive and fifth gear and stuff, so.
And this engine does not put out enough horsepower right now to break that thing at all. So, we're going to send it. Because these transmissions... It depends on who you talk to. Some people are like, oh my gosh, they blow up with 250 horsepower. Sometimes they can hold 500. It kind of depends on the transmission. It depends on how much of an idiot you are when you're driving it. I mean, I've got the T5 in my car is behind about 350 foot-pounds of torque, and it's just fine. And I beat the crap out of it, and it holds up just fine.
I agree with him when he says he beats the crap out of it.
Yeah.
He has it on the floor 50% of the time.
Not that much.
Maybe not that much. 40%.
So anyways, the plan of attack here tonight, this should go pretty quickly if everything goes the way it should. Just bolt the bell housing up onto the motor, slide the whole thing in, and then we got to put on the headers and hook up the motor, which we've done at least a dozen times now.
We should have the engine in the car within the hour.
Right.
We will have to fabricate the transmission mount, probably, I think, because this transmission is 2 inches longer than the Super T10s. So, I believe that it's going to be set back a little bit, and we're going to have to weld something in. But
and then, the other thing that we had to do a little bit of futzing with was the drive shaft. We'll cover that when we get to putting in the drive shaft. And last little note right here. On the bell housing. This is the bell housing off of the Super T10. The reason we did this is because we want to be able to use the mechanical clutch linkage. The bell housing for the T5, well, there's a couple of reasons why we didn't use it.
So one, there's the clutch or slide cylinder spot there. We don't really need that. And two, somebody took a death wheel to this thing. I don't know what they were thinking. It's not like an automatic transmission when you're putting in a torque converter, but they just decided to cut the bottom off of it.
So basically, that bell housing is junk. Plus, we didn't know if the mechanical linkage would fit with this or if our headers would fit with this. We know the headers fit with that bell housing. We know the mechanical clutch linkage fits with that bell housing. And literally everything will line up exactly perfectly. This bell housing was bolted in the exact same location to that engine block, just with a different transmission case behind it. So that, theoretically, in my mind, should 100% work 100% accurately. And we should have zero problems with the clutch working. So that's taken care of. And then, like I said, the only other slight issue we had was drive shaft and drive shaft length. We'll cover that when we get to that. But for right now, we are going to bolt this transmission on and slide this thing into the car, and we got the fenders off and everything, so putting headers on and that jazz should be a lot easier.
It is 90 degrees right now.
Yes, it is. It is very hot. Fun. And I don't have shorts. And I have steel-toe boots on, because I basically just came from work. So we're going to get right into this, and we'll be back, as always, when something starts happening. Alright, we got the transmission bolted up to the engine. We got her sky high, and we are about to plop her right in there. And it should we're just gonna slide her right in, and then that'll probably literally take us 10 minutes or something. So we're gonna get right into that time lapse. All right, so we got the engine back in the car, and then, oh man, I'm not used to this looking like this. Where do I point? Over there. We got the engine back in the car. It's all bolted up. Well, the motor mounts are bolted up, and then we're gonna put the intake manifold back on apparently, and then unbolt. What is our next plan? Are we gonna do? We're gonna look at the transmission. We gotta look at the transmission mount to make sure that that is either okay or probably not okay, and then we gotta crack out the welder and do some welding. So we'll be back underneath the car taking a look at where the transmission mount is gonna line up in there. Are you blinded?
Yes.
All right, we are test fitting the cross member.
Jack it up some.
Okay, that's as high as it goes.
Okay, well, let's go.
Oh, we're gonna have to put this at an angle.
What?
Because this is pointed that way. Because it's supposed to have a cross-side bell housing.
Yep.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to figure something out. Why don't you set the camera someplace and we can actually do this? The transmission's fine where it sits. I think we're gonna have to cut this off and drop it down a couple inches. Right?
Maybe.
And then we can mount it crooked if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're gonna have to. Well, the whole this thing's got to scooch that way a little bit. I don't want to mount it crooked though, because that's just asking for it to start shearing.
Plus, this thing will take the brunt of it. Also, we could shim it too. Put shims underneath this side.
I guess this is the one thing I didn't think about.
I'm not worried about it because this rubber will take the twist.
Yeah, so the rubber's gonna be twisted, right? In your plan, you're gonna twist the rubber.
Yeah.
That's not the best
or
idea.
Or we can shim it on this side, like I said.
That's a much better idea. Let's do that and figure out how low this sits. Alright, so our plan is to take... So this sits... I don't know if you can tell, but it sits at an angle. It's pointed towards Peter right now because this bell housing is supposed to be mounted 23 degrees twisted. But we put the straight bell housing on it, so it's all jacked up now, and we didn't really think about that. So we're going to stack washers underneath the bolt on Peter's side to bring that side down so it's flat-ish-er. Otherwise, the rubber is going to get twisted when we force it into the hole in the trans support. And that's just asking for that rubber mount to rip off, because they already rip off, even when you don't have stuff twisted. So we're gonna go and see. Oh wow, there's a lot of mosquitoes flying around. We're gonna go and level that thing out, and we'll be right back. Alright, so this is what we're talking about when we're saying we're gonna stack washers on this. So this end will go up in there flush, and then we're just gonna stack some washers. It looks like we need a couple more, and we need to get a longer bolt right here. So we are going to go find some more washers and a longer bolt, and we will get right into that. Alright, we are installing the shifter right about now. We just had to cut a little bit of a bigger hole in the floor.
No, it was off to a different side.
Yeah.
So we'll show you the hole in a bit. And there we be. She's in. That Skeeter's eating. Yeah, it's in. Right now it's all the way the heck over to the passenger side, but once that we get a Mustang shifter in here, it'll be right in the center there. So this will work really good, I think. I think I'm really gonna like it.
Alright, as you can see, we got this leveled out. It's almost completely level. Yeah, it's exactly level. So now We got the transport lined up, kind of how it needs to go. We're gonna have to drop this mounting bracket down, but we have a welder now, so that'll be perfect. So I'm gonna jack the car up a little bit so we have a little bit more room to work with, and we're gonna get to relocating the transport, and then we're almost done with this already, which is kind of mint. Oh, and these are tight. It doesn't look like they're tight, but the whole thing's kind of at an angle, and because it's at an angle, the entire mount is acting like a crush washer, essentially, because it's spring-loaded, which means those bolts pretty much aren't going anywhere, I don't think. Maybe they'll fall out eventually, but we'll fix that problem when we get there. Alright, so we got measurements or some markings drawn out where that rubber mount sits on this on the transport. So basically what we're gonna do, this is upside down right now, so this is the bottom. We're gonna have a plate of metal coming straight off, and this is how wide that transport is. So we're gonna weld on some gussets right here to stabilize this so it's not just a flat piece of metal. And the piece of metal we're gonna be using is just going to be this. We're going to take this and maybe try to flatten out the sides here so that it sits on there. We'll have to figure out where the center is. I probably should have done that while it was still underneath. Alright, I'm going to have to go back underneath the car and figure out where the center line is here. This mark means nothing. And then, yeah, we'll get right into doing that. Alright, so the plan right now anyways is to have this cross member right about here on the car, which gives us about that much room to the support. And here's the sheet of metal, and I guess what I'm figuring out right now is how far out this piece of metal needs to go. My creeper is stuck on the jack. So we want, yeah, that looks like it'll do just about right. Oh yeah. So we're gonna line it up right about there, and we're gonna bead all the way around this. It ain't sitting perfectly flat, so I'm probably just gonna, what I'm gonna wind up doing is, I think I'm gonna tack it on the back, get it up in here, hit it with a hammer a couple times to get the angle right, and then weld the whole thing in. And if the angle ain't perfect, well, we can deal with that later. Otherwise, it looks like it should all fit. Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
You want to come here and very slowly so that you don't kill me, lower this jack?
Sounds like a terrible idea.
It is a terrible idea, but do it anyways.
Alright. Let me know when to stop.
Keep going. Is it even going down? You can go a little faster. And stop. And then go back up to where it was before. I just needed to see. Yeah, that's good. Alright, we got a couple tacks on here now. And this is what we're looking at. This is the basic plan. So, it looks like it is at a little bit too steep of an angle, which is what I thought. Which, A, probably isn't going to be that big of a deal. And B, it probably isn't going to be that big of a deal. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's not off by that much. And maybe I'll hit it with a hammer a couple times and try to bend it back down a little bit. But other than that, this is looking to be pretty good. We're going to have to drill a hole where that goes through. And then we'll pretty much be set. And then I want to put some gussets on the side here because, well, just having this hanging out here in the middle of nowhere is kind of sketchy. So we'll try to get a little bit of extra support along the sides here. And then this will be done. Peter's in the process. What do you got going on up there, Peter?
I pretty much got the whole car assembled otherwise.
Yep. And then tomorrow we'll have to make final adjustments and time it and do all that stuff. Cause yeah, cause it is 1:20 a.m. right now, so I'm gonna finish welding this and I'll be back when that's all done. Right, everybody, here's our little 1 a.m. What time is it? 2 a.m. welding station. So we got to get this done before it starts storming, because I think it's, I don't know, there was lightning off in the distance. Uh-oh, there's something going on over there. Oh, never mind, that's the radio tower. That kind of freaked me out a little bit. Anyways, we got all the welds on the plate. Oh my gosh. We got the welds on the plate done all the way around, and over here on the other side as well. And I'm just gonna zip into gussets. This one's a little bit shorter. On this side, the metal flange on that rubber mount kind of sticks down a little bit farther. So I made that one a little bit smaller. Gonna tack these in, make sure everything fits, come back out here, weld it all together. Should be a fun time, and we should be done here in an hour, in bed by 3 a.m. hopefully. Alrighty, everybody, we are almost done for tonight. Probably not completely done with this video because obviously we gotta go and test on it a little bit. But I'll be dipped if this didn't work like really well. We got plenty of clearance between the top of the tranny and the tunnel. The drive shaft has plenty of clearance. The drive shaft fits. Yeah, okay, so here's the deal with the drive shaft that I said we'd explain later when we got to it. So this is the drive shaft we had with the Super T10 that was 2 inches too short. Fortunately, a T5 is 2 inches longer, so the entire thing just lined up just right.
And then Ray Charles ordered the U-joint for down there, hoping and praying that it was the right one. I don't know for sure, because it was the only one that would ship here today. Like, we could get it today, and I ordered it today. So,
yep,
it got here, and it fit. This never happens.
And then this also was an absolute miracle, because, you want to put a washer on there?
Yeah,
probably should.
Probably.
Mint. This is the other miracle. We were just, we did a couple measurements. We measured the heck out of it, which is basically just a couple measurements for us, and did some figuring and some lining up. And literally when we had this transmission on the jack, the drive shaft in place, we just let it down, and I didn't even have to touch a darn thing. That thing slid right into that hole. I could not believe it. Oh, what's going on with this weld right here? Some of the welds on these gussets got really ugly really fast because they were in really stupid spots, and I was trying to weld downhill, and I realized that's actually kind of hard.
Oh, nice.
Because it wants to just fall.
You got that ratchet someplace?
Yeah.
Okay, that's his butt right up back in there.
So, we're going to be done for tonight.
And shower.
Take a shower. It is now 3 o'clock. And that is our designated quitting time. So, I'll see you guys in the morning. And, Yeah.
Looks like we're going on a road trip.
Alright guys, we're back. It is now the next morning, and we got just a couple things left to do. Timing is set good enough. We're putting the fenders back on. It's got oil in it. We're going to drive it out in the front yard without water in it, and then put water in it. And then all we really have to do after that is bleed the brakes, right? So we are really close to driving this thing. So probably next time we do a little video, we'll be starting it up and setting the time and all that, and then we'll show you guys how it drives down the road. Buddy, we are testing out the 5-speed in the 2nd gen. So far it's working just fine. Same transmission mine's got. First time this car's ever seen 5th gear in its life.
Yep. And it's loving it. Dude, I could go 70 and 50. I'm idling right now at 55. Me too. It really has got a kick in the pants since that Super 210
2nd to 3rd is a big difference. I still think mine will beat it.